Some big events and some good decisions. Let's talk about Bad Monkey Season 1, Episode 6. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. I'm here to talk to you about Bad Monkey Season 1, Episode 6. Yo, would you tell Ms. Chase I still love her like crazy, which is coming to Apple TV Plus on September 11th, 2024. There's a 6th episode in Bad Monkey. The series has been getting better and better. I've enjoyed it much more each week. Do I enjoy this episode? Do I think it continues a trend? My hot take is, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this a lot. I really like this episode a lot. I thought it was a very well done episode. It had a lot of big events and then also some really good decisions. Some decisions that made me happy to my core. So I definitely think you should watch it. Like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. I liked all the kind of big events that happened. It felt like there was some big story progress that happened in this episode and some really important decisions that made me feel very warm inside. So definitely check it out when it comes to Apple TV Plus on September 11th, 2024. And if you haven't checked out this series, if you haven't gotten on the Bad Monkey train, get on it now. You want to catch up. It's been getting better and better every week, and I expect it'll probably continue to get better. So, all that being said, I'm going to tell you about the episode, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So, as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this episode, you might not. There are some really big surprises and kind of a big explosive ending. I would turn off when I get to the recap section. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So Bad Monkey Episode 6 continues right after what happened at the end of Bad Monkey Episode 5, where Yancy got Nick's phone, Christopher's phone, unlocked it with the finger from his right arm, was looking through it, realized that there was a plane coming up. They tried to go stop the plane. I don't know. They didn't really do a very good job of trying to stop the plane, but they got there, and then he called Eve and said, I'll be seeing you soon. So Yancy knew that Nick was alive, knew that they were the same person, and he had some evidence. So this episode starts with them trying to figure out what to do next. What are they going to do with this evidence? And also, Yancy is still wanted for murder. A witness ID'd him at, I think, Izzy's murder. And so Mendez, the detective that hates him, is out to get him. So they're trying to figure out the next move. They're trying to figure out what to do next. Are they going to be able to stay in front of the law? And how are they going to continue on this case if Yancy is wanted for murder? Well, you have to watch this episode to find out. So, things I liked about this episode. The first, I love the intrigue. There is some really good intrigue and drama here. I called it, also events. There are some really big events that happen that move the story forward that kind of feel pretty monumental and also get some of these the connective tissue between the stories together. Second thing I love the Dragon Lady. I thought that she did a great job in this. She's really, she's always been kind of mysterious. In this one, she becomes pretty cunning, pretty kind of intimidating, and I loved her character. She had a lot more screen time, and I really enjoyed the time that she was on screen. The third thing I love the new character. There's a new character that we get to meet who is just a lot of fun. I'm not going to spoil it here. It's kind of a big fun surprise in the episode, so just know I really like the new character. And the last thing I love the decisions. There were definitely some good decisions in here. Some that, like I said, warmed my heart, made me feel happy. So, if you are waiting for some good decisions to finally happen in this series, well, you finally get at least one. So, all that being said, things I didn't love as much. There was really only one thing. It was another shorter episode, 47 minutes. I enjoyed the story. I don't think that this, episode was lacking in content, but hey, I would have taken 5 more minutes of something, right? Anything. Five more minutes of story, 5 more minutes of jokes. Who knows? But that's my only minor complaint. Overall, I thought this episode was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So I definitely think you should check out the Bad Monkey series and definitely check out episode 6 when it comes to Apple TV Plus on September 11th, 2024. And I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens in this episode, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So this episode has kind of three main storylines. Yancy, and then kind of Yancy mixed with Bonnie, and then kind of a spin-off Bonnie storyline, and then Neville / the Dragon Queen. So I'm going to do Neville the Dragon Queen first, and then go back to Yancy, because I think Yancy had more meat of the story. And I'll address Bonnie when she splits off from the Yancy story. So, for Neville and Dragon Queen, Neville goes to see the Dragon Queen. He wants some advice. He's running from Egg. He doesn't know what to do. But when he gets there, he sees the Dragon Queen and Egg. Not good for Neville. Egg is definitely still looking for him. Egg definitely wants to, make him pay for everything he's done. And unfortunately for Neville, Driggs notices Neville from the window, and he runs up and seems to be happy. I don't think he's trying to get Neville caught. I think he's happy to see Neville. He hasn't seen him in a while. But this gets Egg's attention, and Egg sees Neville. Now, Neville runs, but Egg is apparently an amazing shot because Egg shoots Neville while he's running outside. Egg shoots him with a pistol through the window while he's running, hits Neville in the arm. Amazing shot. That is like a Turkish sharpshooter type shot. So good for him. But Neville is only hitting the arm. He keeps running. Egg pursues him, but he can't catch up to Neville somehow. I mean, I don't know how he doesn't catch up to someone that's been shot in the arm, but hey, whatever. Neville's able to escape, and Egg isn't able to catch him. Now, the Dragon Queen is a little upset because the Dragon Queen and Egg were hooking up, and Egg kind of ruined it when he shot someone. So when Egg tries to come back, she tells him to get going. That his opportunity is lost. And the Dragon Queen is practicing a signature, and she's practicing with like sketch paper over a check. She's practicing a signature for someone, and we find out that she is working on a deed. She is forging a signature on a deed saying that James, the person that she helped cross over a few episodes ago, gifted this land to her. And so she calls the family in and wants to explain to them that she has this deed that James gifted to her. James is, I think, maybe spouse, maybe daughter, someone who, seems to really care about James is like, well, money can't express the relief that you've given our family. So, she accepts it pretty instantly. But one of the younger kids, either like I think probably James's granddaughter, I would think, doesn't really seem to accept it. She says, this is garbage. Go find a lawyer. Like, why would he give her that property? Because it's a very valuable property. You would think he would maybe want to pass that on to his children or his family, maybe this granddaughter. Maybe she wanted it. So she is none too happy. Now, Yaya hears this insubordination and like snaps her, says, like, that's the last time you're going to talk to us like this. Next time, I won't be so nice. But after that family leaves, this shuts that girl down. But after that family leaves, I think Yaya has a little bit of an inclination that something shady is going on here because she asks the Dragon Queen, like, oh, like when did he give you this gift? And she's like, right before he passed. And it's like, oh, that's a very generous gift. Like something like she's implying, I think, that she knows that this something seems not right with this gift. And there is nothing not right. She forged the deed. We'll see what happens if this comes back to bite her. Now, the Dragon Queen wants to meet with Christopher and Eve, and so she gets Egg to arrange a meeting. And when they get there, Christopher and Eve try to scam her. They try to say like, yeah, the Dragon Queen is basically like, you offered James $700,000 for this. He wasn't going to sell. You can offer it to me. Basically saying like, I'll take that money. And Christopher and Eve are like, oh, well, like, we don't really have the capital for that. Everything is in construction. And Eve is like, well, what if we like gave her a small amount now and then like a percentage of the profits? And Christopher's like, oh my gosh, like that would make her so much more money. Like, why would we ever do that? And he was like, oh, please, I really want that property. They're trying to scam her. They're trying to like give her a lower offer, making her think that some profits down the line will pay more. And I assume that they will either cook the books or they know that they're not going to make as much profit, something like that, to screw her down the line. And the Dragon Queen sees around this. She basically like shuts it down and says, you can sell me at that price or not, but don't disrespect me. She like intimidates them with her Dragon Queenness and essentially tells them to like, don't treat her like a fool. So someone appears to not treat her like a fool because later at the very end of the episode, the way this episode concludes, the Dragon Queen is walking through the forest. She hears something like a branch snap. She looks around, scared. She stops. She kind of like smiles to herself and keeps walking. And then a bag goes over her head. It seems like she's going to get kidnapped. That's the end of the episode. I'll talk more about the bag. I'll talk more about the hand later. So now going to Yancy. Yancy is trying to figure out what to do next. After he's called Eve, he's still a wanted fugitive. He's got to figure out what to do. So he tries to go to Rose's house. Rose doesn't want him there, as you imagine. A wanted fugitive. He doesn't want to go there. But eventually, Yancy says they're going to come over. And before he comes to Rose's house, he stops by his own house to clean up. And when he gets there, he sees Cody sitting in his living room. And Yancy doesn't know who this person is, but he recognizes that gray Yukon that tried to run him off the sidewalk, tried to kill him. So he's scared, as you'd imagine. He tackles Cody, has him in like a chokehold, and then Bonnie comes in and asks him to stop. Now we find out that Bonnie, we find out who this person is. It was the student that Bonnie slept with a long time ago when he was under the age of consent, and now he has grown up. He's tracked her down, and he wants to make a life with her. But Yancy is like confused, but he has too much other stuff to worry about. So he's about to go, and Bonnie is ask Yancy if they can stay in their cabin for a few days. It turns out that Yancy's family has a cabin up in the woods, and so she wants to stay there to kind of clear her head, let the heat die down, and then figure out their next move. Yancy says, "Fine, you can," and then Yancy heads out to Rose's place. And when he gets there, Rose seems not too happy to see him. Remember, Sonny threatened Rose like career, his family. Basically said like if you help Yancey, you're done, which would threaten Rose's salary. It would threaten the benefits for him and his family, his like pension. All that would be concerned. So Ro is very worried, and so when Yancey gets there, we see that there's some cops there too. Ro says he's sorry. As soon as he sees Yancey, some cops show up. They take Yancey in. Seems like Ro sold him out, but like he kind of had to, right? Like, I mean, yeah, you want him to be nice to Yancey. You want him to help him out. But like, this is Rose's life. This is Rose's family. He's got to be careful. Doesn't want to lose his job. Doesn't want to lose his benefits, his pension. Everything's banked on that. His husband is a DA. They need both salaries. So Ro does this. Yancey gets taken away. Now, meanwhile, Bonnie and Cody get to the cabin. And I'm going to do the Bonnie Cody storyline right now. But when they get there, it's occupied by this new person, Yancey's dad. I loved Yancey's dad. He was so much fun. He was like very wise, very kind of like thoughtful, very like fun, old, wise character. He seemed to be really smart. He seemed to have like some great insights, and he was really fun to talk to. I kind of half expected Bonnie to go after him. Like they seemed to have a good connection. She didn't, but I thought that would have been an interesting twist as well. We'll see. Maybe it could happen later. So Bonnie and Cody hang out for a bit with a dad, and then eventually Bonnie seems to kind of like want to just run away, hitch on to Cody, see if maybe this will be the person that like gives her some purpose in life, gives her some excitement. Maybe she can finally like stop running. She thinks maybe, but then eventually she reads this book that Cody's writing. Cody's been writing a book. He's been talking about it the entire time, but he's been working on this book. And so Bonnie starts reading it, and she starts, happy reading it. It's very flattering. He talks about how beautiful she was, but then she reads a little bit more, and the writing is just not as crisp as I think she was expecting a 27-year-old to write. He doesn't write very well. He writes like kind of stream of consciousness, kind of like what you'd expect a kid to write because he kind of is a kid. She realizes that when she, took advantage of him, maybe that kind of stopped his growth. Maybe that kind of affected him. I don't know. I don't know if that how that actually works. I don't know if that would actually stop his growth. But at least Cody is a kid, and he's not the kind of like thoughtful, deep thinker that I think Bonnie wants. The kind of person that's going to like excite her physically and mentally. So later, when they're about to hook up, Bonnie finds an excuse to get out of there. She says she's going to get a 2009 Silver Oak, and Cody's like, "Oh, what is that? Is that like a wine?" She's like, "Yeah, it's a very good bottle of wine." So Bonnie ducks out and goes outside and talks to Nancy's father, who is like very perceptive. He gives her some advice, basically like, tells her that she kind of broke Cody and that he's probably not what she's looking for. And so this causes Bonnie to make her next decision. Now, later down the line, the agent that's been looking for Bonnie knocks on this cabin. She went to visit Yancey's house, explored Yancey's house without a warrant, illegally obtained evidence. No, no, no. But she went in there, figured out that there was a cabin, went up to the cabin to get Bonnie. When she knocks on the door, she asks for, I think, whatever her Chase, whatever Bonnie's real name is, something Chase. And the dad's like, I don't know who that is. It's like Bonnie Wright or whatever Bonnie's real name is. And the dad's like, oh yeah, she's out back. So they go out back to find her. And turns out that Bonnie has decided to run. She took the dad, the family's airboat, and is leaving out on the river. And so at this point, the dad's like, "Oh, you just missed her," and he's like, "And I also would like to formally report an airboat stolen." So again, a funny little way for this to conclude. I really liked Yancey's dad's character; he was a lot of fun. Now, that's the Bonnie Cody storyline. Going back to Yancey, Yancey is talking to his attorney Montenegro, who is married to Ro, and Rose shows up there too. And Montenegro is angry at Ro, as you'd imagine. They argue in Spanish while Yancey's there. I didn't catch it. I didn't have subtitles in my screener, and my Spanish is rusty. But it sounded basically like Montenegro was up, or Ro was yelling at Montenegro because like, look, I had to protect the family. I had to do what I need to do for the family, the kids, things like that. And Montenegro basically says like Yancey is either like family or like new family. I think he called him like Nuestra Familia, something like that. So it sounds like Montenegro's upset that Ro sold Yancey out, and Ro is upset because he's like trying to do what's best for their family, and he's doesn't like to be the bad guy. as you'd imagine. So Ro is getting it from his husband. Ro is also getting it from Rosa. Rosa shows up and basically tells Ro that they need to do something. They need to help Yancy. That flight must have existed. The cops are saying that there's no manifest from that flight. There's no record of that flight that Yancy says Christopher was on. And so Rosa's like, we should break into that hangar and get the manifest and figure out where that flight is. And Ro is like, no, like you can't do that. You'll get in more trouble. And Rosa gets upset with Ro. Rosa's disappointed in him. She's disappointed that he's not gonna help a friend, and so she leaves. Now, Rosa does exactly what she said. She breaks into that hangar to try to find the manifest. But when she gets in there, the plane had just landed. The plane that took Christopher and Eve back to the Bahamas has come back with some drug runners, and so it has landed. And Rosa has to really quickly hide to avoid detection. She does. She waits it out until everyone leaves. And she goes up to that plane to get that manifest. She opens the door, and wouldn't you know it, something pops out. And it's Neville. Neville, after he got shot by Egg, ran and seemed to hide out in the like drug runners plane, this plane that does illegal things. He seemed to hide out in there, somehow avoid detection, somehow avoided being seen or heard. I don't know how he did it, but he was there, and he is in bad shape, but he's coherent enough to recognize Rosie. He says, I know you, coffee with two sugars. He remembers her from her order at Neville's sister's restaurant that he took all that time ago. So it seems like the storylines are starting to connect. So back in like the Yancey storyline, Ro is putting his kids to bed, and when he's doing this, he sees some gifts that Yancey got them. He sees earlier his daughter was looking for a unicorn hairband or hair clip, and he sees his son with this like cute stuffed turtle that he's falling asleep with. And Ro thinks back to this moment where Yancey was giving his kids some gifts, and he's super sweet. He's like an uncle essentially, like giving them some fun gifts. And he gave the daughter that unicorn hair clip, and he gave the son the turtle, and he tells a really cute story about it. And Ro, I think, is feeling very bad about what he did. He betrayed his friend. He did it for his family. His family, he needed his job, couldn't risk losing his job. Understand, but he feels bad. So Rose scoops up his son and gets out of there. Now, meanwhile, Yancey's getting interrogated. They're trying to like pin this on him. And so they are interrogating him. They basically say that, like, given the evidence, we have to at least indict you. The evidence being that they have an eyewitness, and that Yancey also has like Christopher's finger, I guess. I mean, that seems like a separate crime. That doesn't seem like it's related to this death, but maybe it is. I don't know. Anyways, but that is when Rose shows up. Monaghan looks at it, he's like, why are my children here? And like his children go hang out with, someone else at the police station. Ro pops in and he's like, he let the babysitter, the nanny, like go home. So he had to take the children with him. But he says he went to talk to the witness. And the witness did say the story that Mendez has, that she saw Yancey right after the gunshots. But then Rose says, I also told her it was okay to tell me the full story. And so the witness says that she saw someone come in earlier, someone snooping around earlier, and she remembers this person because he had one arm. A one-armed person was in like the area of the apartments. And then she says that Mendez told her not to tell them this because if she told them this, then that would mean the real killer, Yancey, would go free. That's not good. That is not good when you have someone tell you that, especially when a cop tells you that. That is not a good look for your investigation. Probably going to get some stuff thrown out. And so this is very good for Yancey. Now Mendez gets upset. He's like, "That's not the only evidence. I've got so much more evidence. I have a whole folder on my desk." And they're like, "Great, go get it." Mendez goes to get it, and then he, like in The Simpsons, just like nopes out of there. It would be really great if I like went to a bathroom and then like went through a window, because that would be like right out of The Simpsons. But Mendez runs. We don't see him run, but we find out later that he has like run. And I think Yancey's feeling good, both that he's probably gonna get out of this charge, and also that Ro did something for him. Like Ro took the initiative, went and helped him, got additional evidence to save his friend. I had questioned whether Ro was part of this whole scheme earlier, because he's just like mopey. He's not very like emotional. Doesn't seem like, but this showed that Ro does really care about Yancey. Ro cares about this family, and also that Ro made some good decisions. So very happy to see that. That was the decision that warmed my heart. So that is this episode. Now, what do we think is going to happen next? Well, first, let's start with the Dragon Queen. She was kidnapped, I guess, or a sack was put over her head. Now, who did this? My first thought was it's Egg. Must be Egg. Christopher and Eve probably told him to go make this happen, deal with this, and figure it out. But the arm didn't look like Egg. The arm was not like super muscular. The arm looked normal muscular, and it was wearing like a black, a black long sleeve, which Egg doesn't wear. Egg usually wears tank tops, and it looked like the hand was white. I couldn't tell. It's a very quick scene. I tried to pause it. It looked like the hand might be white. Also, it was the right hand, so it's not Christopher because Christopher doesn't have a right hand. So who could it be? I don't know. I mean, it could be the Christopher Eve. Maybe they hired someone else to do this. Maybe Egg wouldn't want to touch the Dragon Queen because he believes in her powers, and so they hired someone else to deal with her, to make her sell her land, to torture her. Who knows? Or maybe it is the daughter of that family that doesn't believe the Dragon Queen got this deed and wants to like stop her. Those are my two guesses. You know, I think it's probably more likely Christopher Eve. They kind of do a lot of shady stuff, but hey, we'll see. What's going to happen to Yancey? Well, it feels like Yancey is probably off the hook for this murder, but we'll see what else happens to him. He did dig up a grave, he did desiccate a corpse. But the interesting thing is that iPhone that was Christopher slash Nick's iPhone was not reported evidence. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see if Mendez is hiding it. Maybe it's in Mendez's desk. Maybe someone else is pulling the strings here and they tried to get the iPhone out of there. That is a big piece of evidence. That'll be important for this investigation. We'll see. But it seems like everything is coming up. Now, also, what about Neville? Neville is shot, but he's in Miami, so he can go to a hospital there. He doesn't have to worry about Christopher or Egg getting him. So it seems like Neville will probably recover, and then maybe he'll tell some more. Maybe he'll tell some stories about, what Christopher is doing. Maybe he'll help the investigation. Somehow I think he's going to relate back into this whole story. So we will see. We will see what happens next. But that is Bad Monkey Season 1, Episode 6. Like I said, definitely watch it. Definitely watch the series. It's been getting really good. I love this episode. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was exciting, enjoyable. I liked the new characters. I liked the events that happened, and I loved the decisions. So definitely watch this. And if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. I would love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you. Continues right after what happened at the end of Bad Monkey episode 5, where what happened at the end of Bad Monkey episode 5?